fancy free. Full of fun and fancy free. That's the way I wanna be. I don't let my troubles trouble me. Fancy free, full of fun. Got no time to worry none. Too busy singing in the sun, sweet sun. If you should have a chronic ache, pills won't make you strong. The only tonic you should take is a teaspoonful of song. So if you'd really like to be happy-go-lucky just like me, drown your frowns, my friend, and you will see. You'll see that you'll be full of fun and fancy-free.
Hello. This is very impromptu. This is very impromptu. A very long day. Long day. And of course, there were a lot of things going on, and it dawned on me. I think a lot of people right now are living through this chaos and mayhem and may want to know a little bit about what in the fuck is happening. Like, what's happening? How does this stuff work? Who's doing what now? I get it. So, first of all, let me just start off by saying, of course, usual intro. Welcome, my friends, to Jurassic Park. And now, as I'm going to lovingly refer to it, the Joe Rogan experience. I'm not Joe Rogan. This isn't his experience, but it is the Joe Rogan experience. So, I just wanted to talk a little bit about all the things that are happening. And I don't really know how much interest there is among people to know, I guess, make sense of all this. So I just figured I'd pop on and get a gauge for it and see, whatever. And incidentally, I'll end up uploading this stuff to YouTube. I'm just going to run through some things and then, if any friends or whatever want to take a look at this, or any of you internet strangers want to take a look at it later, feel free. So I'm just going to jump right into some stuff. Matter of fact, here, I'm going to set this down. I'll switch scenes. Let's talk about some things. What's happening, first of all? Oh my, what is happening? First of all, let's fade in a little bit of music. I just want to very briefly give people a rundown of what is going on. The reason it's significant is we're starting to see a little bit of a shift here. It's an unprecedented... The fucking word unprecedented keeps coming up. It comes up over and over again. But what we're seeing is a time that didn't exist prior. You had no realistic way to unify the leverage of people's capital to the extent that you are right now. So a lot of people have been able to get together and basically call stocks. Now, here's the thing that I'm going to first tell you. I've been doing this a long time. I've been trading a long time. Stocks, mostly, options, a bit. ETFs and things like that are part of what I do. And I guess to give you a quick crash course, essentially, you have big market makers and market movers, okay? Like hedge funds. And hedge funds have the ability, they represent a consolidation of wealth, wherein they can make moves in a market and it actually changes the price. So to give you a really simple, just a very simple-minded way to look at this, every company that goes public in an initial public offering, so an IPO, when that happens, they issue a number of shares that make up the value, the whole value of their stock, okay? And when that happens, people can make sort of a judgment of the value of the stock and they invest their money in it, okay? And if it's worthwhile to me, and I say, yeah, I like your business, I like what you're doing, you know, I'm going to go ahead and toss my money in with your company, you know, enjoy my money, and hopefully whatever you do increases the value of your company, and thus my shares become more desirable, and it increases the price. And of course, the more people who buy these stocks, the more it drives up that value. Now, this is sort of the basic idea of a stock, just as a general rule. But say the market cap, or really the value of a business. Like we talk about, you know, another popular one that everybody's talking about right now is Tesla. If you take a look at Tesla, it's worth more than any other auto manufacturer by a long shot. The hilarity there is that they don't have nearly the market share, but they're worth a lot more because of how much people have invested in it. For better or for worse, right or wrong, there are arguments that can be made here, right? But, you know, you really have to, before getting into any, you know, stocks, anything like that, when people talk about losing money, you're not going to lose all your money in stocks. It's not going to happen unless it literally goes to zero, which usually happens in very extraordinary, bizarre circumstances. Now, what we're seeing right now, and the reason I told you all that is to tell you this. Imagine if you could control billions of dollars, and not just billions of dollars, but you also had leverage from banks in the form of margin, meaning that at some point a bank will not just lend you money, they'll lend you shares, right? So what you can do is you can actually trade, you know, I have one account, is a good example, where I keep anywhere between 30 and 50 grand in that account. It's where I tend to keep it. And the bank will allow me to trade for some stocks all the way up to, you know, $150,000, $160,000. Despite the fact that I don't have that money, they will lend me the money to do that. And they do that taking a bit of risk on the trader. So some of it depends on getting approved for that account, but a lot of times they don't really do a whole lot of homework in terms of, you know, a person claims to be experienced and they just go like, okay, that's good enough for me. And you know, whatever. But you can also go the other direction, because I'm sure you've heard this. First of all, I'm sure you've heard the word or words short selling. What's going on with that? How does that work? Well, you can take a stock and you can borrow shares from the bank. All right. And when you borrow shares from the bank, you can sell them. And you go, hold on a second, but you didn't own those shares. You just sold them, but you never owned them. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, the way that works is now I owe you not money, but shares. So if I sell your shares, and let's just say I had a company, they were being traded at $100 a share. And now I sold the share. Let's say I sold 10 shares at $100 a share. So now I'm looking at $1,000. Okay, that's what I made from that sale. Well, now I owe them those shares back. So let's say the stock depreciates in value, say by, 10%. So now it's worth $90. Well, I go, you know what? That's good. 10%. That sounds like a good margin to me. I'm going to go ahead and close out that short. So now you buy it to cover. Okay. And that means I now owe those 10 shares. I'm going to buy the 10 shares. It only cost me $900. So look at that. So now from the original 1,000 that I made, I had to give 900 back, is how that essentially goes. Okay. So now that we've covered that, we kind of have the idea of what a short is conceptually. Well, the next thing you have to know about is you have to know about options. And just to give you the briefest of descriptions, because the options actually get pretty fucking complicated, okay? But to give you the briefest of overviews, options are like an insurance policy. All right. And when you as a matter of fact, here, let me do this. Let me pull up Investopedia. We're going to go options trading. We're just going to pull this up so you get an idea. What are options, right? Contracts that give the bearer the right, but not obligation, to either buy or sell an amount of some underlying asset at a predetermined price at or before the contract expires. Options can be purchased like most other asset classes with brokerage investment accounts. Now, when you start an account, okay, you can ask whether, you can ask them to start an account that allows you to trade options. It's not given to you by default. You have to ask for it. They're actually a really great way to make more money, for instance, with less capital. If you want to have a bigger return on your investment, and you only have $1,000 to invest, you can make a lot more money by trading options. Also, you need to be watching like a hawk. But the idea, if you hear that description, you have the right, but not the obligation, to either buy or sell an amount of some underlying asset at a predetermined price, at or before the contract expires. Usually what happens is you get these options and you're trading them. Mostly people just move these contracts around. They don't actually want to be holding. It's like a game of hot potato. They're actually trying not to be holding them when they expire. They don't want to exercise the option. In fact, options were kind of a source of disaster over this last summer as it pertained to oil. A lot of people were trying to trade their barrels of oil, and they ended up having to exercise the contracts. It was actually very funny. That's why oil actually went negative briefly. I don't know if you saw that. It went negative briefly because it was like, shit, I don't want this oil. And because nobody had any place to store the extra oil, thanks to the coronavirus, because nobody was consuming the oil, They had all this surplus. We had no place to store it. So by holding the contract, you became obligated to figure out a place to store it. Literally became worth less than $0 because it would cost you money to hold it. So the oil became worth negative money. I'll pay you to take it, you know. And if somebody had the ability, somebody had storage space, that was a fucking deal and a half. But anyway, call and put options. So here's where we are, kids. Options are type of derivative security. An option is a derivative because its price is intrinsically linked to the price of something else. So if you buy an options contract, I'm going to move this over a little bit. There we go. All right. If you buy an options contract, it grants you the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell an underlying asset at a price set price on or before a certain date. Okay. So a call option gives the holder the right to buy a stock, and a put option gives the holder the right to sell a stock. Think of a call option as a down payment for a future purchase. Okay. I like to think of them a lot as insurance policies. This is how I like to think of it. So they give an example. Let's look at this example and it'll help you understand. Okay. A potential homeowner sees a new development going up, and that person may want the right to purchase a home in the future, but will only want to exercise that right once certain developments around the area are built. The potential home buyer would benefit from the option of buying or not. And imagine they can buy a call option from the developer to buy the home at, say, $400,000 at any point in the next 3 years. Well, they can, you know, it as a non-refundable deposit. Okay? So naturally, the developer wouldn't grant such an option for free. And the potential home buyer needs to contribute a down payment to lock in that right. Sure, right? So with respect to an option, this cost is known as the premium. It is the price of the options contract. In our home example, the deposit might be $20,000 that the buyer pays the developer. And let's say 2 years have passed and now the developments are built and zoning has been approved. And the home buyer exercises the option and buys the home for $400,000 because that is the contract purchased. Market value of that home may have doubled to $800,000, but because the down payment locked in a predetermined price, the buyer pays $400,000. Now, in an alternate scenario, say the zoning approval doesn't come through until year 4. This is 1 year past the expiration of this option. Now the home buyer must pay the market price because the contract has expired. In either case, the developer keeps the original $20,000 collected. Now, the reason this is important to know is this actually plays a role in what happened. They were on the put side, see. This is the call option. This is about me buying. It means I'm bullish. I'm bullish. I think it's going to appreciate in value. That's what it means to be bullish. I think it's going to appreciate in value, and I'll be able to buy at some lesser cost that I've said is worth something to me. Now, there are options that you can call deep in the money. That gets into a whole other ball of wax. Not going to go into it. But the long and short is you might imagine options become more valuable the more fucked out of someone's position someone is. So, for instance, if, like you saw the 800,000, so right here, you see this. Let's just say I paid 20,000. This is a good example of how the options trading works. So they say the deposit might be $20,000. Okay. So in that hypothetical example, if I now know that the home is worth the 800,000 they were talking about. Okay. And I'm getting close to expiration. And the value of the home, we agreed we'd pay 400. Well, let's just say I want to sell this contract. And I go, hey, I'm selling you the right to buy a home here for 400 grand. It's an $800,000 house. What do you say to, you pay me $50,000 and you get this, out the door, $800,000 home for $450. Sounds good, right? Sure. Everybody's happy at that point, right? The developer had gotten their original down payment from the first person who took a gamble. The second person buying it saw the value in it. They decided to take it. And who knows? Maybe that guy will exercise the contract. Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll just see if he can sell it for more than $50,000. I don't know. Maybe he goes, I might be able to get 10% on this. I'll see if I can sell it for 55, right? And it becomes a game of hot potato. Who can move this around before my contract expires? Well, kids, this brings me to what's happening right now. Because a group of people on Reddit said, you know what, guys? There are some hedge funds who are leveraged really deep on Gamestop GME, and they have contracts coming up. Well, let me take you on a brief tour. I mean, let's bring up GameStop first, and I'm just gonna hop on over here. I'm gonna bring up another Yahoo, and we're gonna go ahead to. They've fucked up the whole market. I'm telling you, I have not been in a dilemma quite as significant in a very long time. I don't know. This is bananas. I just want to bring up a couple of things. So we're going to bring up AMD as a good example. Take a look at how AMD absolutely ate shit. Take a look at this. Boom, flat down. What happened? Well, they reported their earnings. And you say, well, they must have been dog shit. No. Nope. It's actually a great earnings report. Fantastic, in fact. They received several price upgrades. There's a lot of upside to AMD. In fact, if you're smart, you'd buy AMD. But it fell off. What the fuck? Why did it fall off? Let's see if I can... oh, gosh. Let's just see if we can change our date range here. See if I can go back in time a little bit. Let's take a look at AMD earnings date, because what it'll show you on these earnings dates, tip ranks pretty good, because they show you past. All right, and there we go. October 27th. Take a look at that on October 27th. Now, the thing to know about this is they actually pretty much always beat. All right. In fact, I think here we can even see it. Let's go to our historical data. Let me see. I'm trying to find it here. I'm not seeing it. It's under analysis? I think it's here. Earnings history. Yes. Okay. Okay, so here you can see they have a so-called surprise. All right. So here's the surprise from each individual quarterly earnings report. Okay. This is for the, if you notice, they're all 3 months apart. So each quarter. But if you notice, that was not the date that was on tip ranks. If you notice, here's where they reported, October 27th. But it was for the quarter going through September 29th, okay? The surprise is what was estimated, and then they have an actual that they really achieved, and that's a surprise. So if you notice, when they reported, they kicked ass. They kicked ass. And then they promptly ate shit. Tip ranks will show you here. The following day, they were down 7%. They kicked ass, and they were down 7%. They were down to $76 the following day. Okay? What's going on? July 29th, they turbo kicked ass, and they went 15.6% up. What? What? Bananas. What's happening? Well, kids, here's where we get to the bit about good old hedge funds. Good old hedge funds. What's going on? We have people who can move the market. And if you follow any financial forums or discussions, or maybe you have a group, a Discord, or, people you trade with, it becomes very obvious that there's a very particular strategy being employed here. And if you don't trade, you may not notice that intraday, and that means within the span of the day, intraday trading, you'll notice there's a lot of real fucky things that happen, okay? I'll take you real quick. Keeping this in mind, keep this in mind, okay? Let's take you real quick on a journey. Let's see if we can go back in time through 2020. Take a look here at some pretty massive changes. In fact, just to keep it as completely objective as I can, let's go back here. Let's go back a year in the NASDAQ. Sorry, this is the Dow Jones. That's fine. I'm thinking about the NASDAQ because tech. Dow Jones Industrial, okay? It's just a composite of a lot of different companies. Now, every time Trump was tweeting about us being, first of all, let's see if I can, God, these things drive me nuts. These interfaces. Okay. Every time Trump would tweet about there being tariffs, the market would eat shit. Every single time. It was insane. I don't know if you noticed, this is a pretty massive drop-off here. When did it happen? Well, that wasn't during COVID. That's not COVID. This is COVID. This is COVID. This was crazy, okay? That was crazy. This was tariff trade war bullshit. And every single time, let me see, was this the... No. Whoa. Why is there... Whoa. Every single time, Trump would yell, trade war! Everybody! There's a trade war! Every time he would do that, stocks across the board would plummet. But let me tell you, they started to plummet before he said anything. Short sale volume picked up. Who knew that? Who could have seen it coming? Before he ever would announce anything, there would be a market-wide drop. You could measure it. So it wasn't a little bit of money, it was a lot of money. Then you go, so why would you tell me this? Why are we talking about the trade war? Why are we talking about all this stuff? Well, because let's just say, if I had a little bit of insight about, say, when somebody was going to announce there would be a trade war and I was short on a stock, I actually make a lot of money every time somebody would announce that there's a trade war. The other thing that would happen is, again, if I have a very large influence financially, if I have a very large influence, let's say after somebody kills earnings, just absolutely kills earnings, and I know they're going to get big price upgrades. If I know I'm controlling a huge portion of a stock, I could trigger panic selling, because me and my fuckhead buddies in our hedge fund, we can actually just sell our position, which, if you see, we would do really well leading up to this. October 27th. Let's just real quick. I'll see if I can go back. My goodness. Am I just ever so clumsy? October 27th. Let's see if we can get there. If you notice, take a look at how they were doing here. There we go. October. Here we go. I was about to say, that's pretty stable. Here. Yes. October 27th. Leading up to that, it was a spike. And this is always how it plays out. There are a lot of different chart patterns and things you can follow, but earnings report season throws all that shit out the window. It really does. That's when things gap up or they gap down. Okay. Rarely are they flat. Rarely. So, if you take a look here, they're at a peak right there. You sell off. And if you notice, you have a good couple of days of just eating shit. You just eat shit for like 3 days. You eat shit. And then it turns around. And then it levels up. Okay? Shakes out. See the price action shake out. And then you see big institutional purchases. You can actually watch these orders come in. This isn't speculation. This isn't people sitting here and going, what's going on? There's got to be some kind of, is there some wacky conspiracy? You don't have to look hard. It's there. You can watch the transactions happening. You can watch the live stream of the transactions happening. You go, wow, this is kind of fucked up. This is heavily manipulated. Okay, that's just one stock. This happens all over the goddamn place, all the time. And retail, that's you and I, people who may have money, but not a lot of money, we pretty much are reactionary. In fact, we learn to strategize around these people because they can rig the game. They can rig it. Let's take a look here at GameStop. Oh, GameStop. So much fun. It's so much fun. Look at the giant. My goodness. GameStop has been a sad story, let me tell you. It is not a fun chart. GameStop is not a fun chart at all. See if I can zoom this out a little bit. We're just going to go back in time. We're going to go back. Once upon a time, here they are, 2015. This is about right. This was about their high, because I believe before this, yeah, they were not living the high life. So you had this sort of heyday here. Yeah, 2013, between 2013 and 2015, they were kind of in a window, and then the bottom dropped out. Well, what happened there? Well, a lot of digital services started coming out and really doing well. Okay, in GameStop, you had Xbox coming out. You had your Xbox coming out with your digital library. You can just download the stuff directly. Or you can get Sony and be on the Sony Play Store or whatever the fuck and just download your stuff directly. Obviously, here on PC, I'm doing Steam. I haven't walked into a GameStop in, God, fuck, I don't know. It's been forever. I haven't been in a GameStop in ages. I used to love going to that place. I was a teenager, though. So it was a long time ago. Getting old. Anyway, you take a look at this. And if you notice, they were really kicking ass back here, and then they just dropped like a goddamn rock. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a great historian on GameStop, but I am going to tell you that it was no secret that their short volume picked up tremendously. So what does that mean? Like I mentioned earlier, when a stock goes public, it has a certain number of shares that it issues, and that's called a float, okay? And here with GameStop, they had issued, a float that was starting to get a much higher short ratio. It was 60%, then 70%, then 80%. It became outrageous as we got out here, right? And eventually, we get to where we are today with COVID, and, the hedge funds bought options, okay? Bunch of options contracts because they were cheap, and they bought put options that were into the future here. We're going to short. In fact, the plan was always to short them into bankruptcy. We're going to short them out of existence. That's what they wanted to do. That was their goal. Nobody could stop them. Who has the money? Only a fool would invest in a dying. Not even a game. It's not even a gaming company. What do they? They resell gaming equipment. And new games. In the hard copies, but who the fuck cares? Who the fuck cares? You're gonna go out of business. So they wanted to short these guys. Kind of a shitty thing to do, to destroy a struggling company like that. But they were leveraged deep on these guys, and the volume that they ended up shorting was about 144% of the float. I'm going to repeat that because you really have to imagine. Imagine that I have an orange and I sell you not just the orange, but more of the orange than there is. I go, all right, I'm selling you 1.5 oranges. And you go, but you only handed me one. Don't you only have one? And I say, yes, but I'm selling you 1.5. Why were they allowed to do that? Why were they allowed to not only do that, but also buy these options while they're shorting them into oblivion? Nobody has the financial means to stop them, really. And why would they? Because it's GameStop. So they're just like, fuck. This is an easy way for me to make money. I'm just going to beat these guys to death, and I'm just going to make a fuck ton of money off of it. Okay. So, bunch of people on Reddit go, you know what? These greedy fucks right here, they want to short these dudes out of existence in the middle of a pandemic. And aren't you tired of those guys manipulating options so that they kill all our contracts, but all their contracts win, right? If I can manipulate the price of the stock, I manipulate the options. I get to win on the stock, and I get to win on the options. Yes. If I'm a hedge fund, I feel like I'm a genius, but I'm not a genius. I can just rig the game. It's like being able to have a deck of cards, and you just get the hand, you're like, okay, well, nobody can coordinate their capital like I can. Because nobody does. When you're trading, it's a bunch of people doing it independently, or it's institutions doing it. And hedge funds, you kind of always get the impression, if you've ever been to a country club, it's amazing the kind of ass-slappy good times those fucking assholes have, okay? Well, have any good investment ideas, And it's, you think they don't discuss stock symbols over there? You think they don't go, okay, well, maybe I'll take a look and, we'll see what we can do, See who we're gonna allow to win today. Well, now a bunch of people on Reddit said, I noticed that their options contracts are expiring on Friday. That's this Friday, kids. That's this Friday. Hey, let me check the date on that, just so that that's January 29th. Okay, so their options are going to expire on that day. So, wouldn't it be terrible? It's like I mentioned. If I'm giving somebody a good deal, the put options, again, give you a right to sell at a certain price. And, they picked a price that was silly low price to give them the value of the option. So as they short it and it goes into oblivion, their contracts become worth quite a bit more money. Hedge the bets. But what if I drove up the price of the stock insanely so that now your contract is worth shit because it would be stupid? Oh, it gives me the right to sell at $12? Fuck that. Like if I had a, contract that gave me the right to sell, and it's like, okay, I bought my contracts, right to sell at 15 or 12 or, whatever it is. And now I'm down, I'm down here at 4. Well, that contract's worth a lot of money. But if I'm sitting up at, I don't know, $350, that would actually be really fucking stupid, would it not? The only reason you would buy that would be deep in the money. Okay, deep in the money. But you would go deep in the money calls if you're bullish. Anyway, the point is, they said if we can kill their options, they would lose a lot of money. You go, yeah. And if they exercise the option, they would still lose a lot of money. You go, yeah. You go, but they're also 144% leveraged into this fucking stock. We could absolutely bone these fuckfaces. Just like they bone everybody else every single day. Every single day. And you know what? People bought that idea. And they said, yeah, let's do it. You know, they did this one other time. They did this with Tesla. This was the first time it was pulled off, was Tesla. Tesla was going to go out of business. They were going to go bankrupt. They were literally, I don't know, weeks away. Elon was fucking sleeping at the factory. You know, the guy really wanted to make it work. And they had to make a certain number of shipments or something. And I don't remember all the details. But, you know, Elon, he was pushing like mad. But he was being shorted all over the place, and then it became a joke. It became a meme to buy Tesla stock no matter what. The stock doesn't go down, okay? That was the joke. That was the bit. So they kept convincing people, and it went viral, and then a bunch of kids hopped on board, and it's the same thing happening again. A few people coordinated this with a good idea, and they just said, guys, we're gonna save GameStop. There's no reason. And what's funny, again, I'm coming at this from the standpoint of a trader. That's not what I do professionally. Obviously, I've mentioned it before on this cast. I'm a scientist. But this is something that I do. I guess you could say I'm sort of a very proficient amateur, okay? Who's been day trading. I mean, I've paid for entire projects with money I made day trading. New tools, good example. If I go, oh, you know what, I really need a new tool, I'll take a day and just really pay attention to my stocks and go, how much does it cost? $600? Okay, that's my goal today. Make $600. And you go, wow, really? You can just go on the net and just, you know, move around some money and make $600? Yeah. It's silly. It is. It's silly. You know, but I mean, it's good. But I would love to see everybody be able to get involved. I'd love to see people, you know, not just the people who have inordinate amounts of money be able to go, hey guys, see, here's what happens. Going back here, if you just follow this pattern, most likely this is probably going to further break down tomorrow if I had to wager, unfortunately, because I'm fairly heavily invested in it. But it's probably going to continue to break down. Then it's going to pick right back up and probably going to hit over 100 in pretty short order. Let's imagine that something runs by 10% and you were able to purchase $1,000 worth of shares. And so that is $100 profit to you. Great. But if you were able to invest $1 million, 10% is $100,000. Now, there comes a point where if you have a couple of good days and you have, you know, 1.2 million in stock in some, you know, whatever stock, if you're day trading it, you could literally cash out and then buy a house, cash, and then just go right back and purchase the stock. That same 10% means quite a bit more to you as somebody who has a lot of money, which means there is a disproportionate increase in money supply. That's for one, and asset distribution. There's a really, I mean, there is quite an argument to be made about all this. I mean, I don't even know how far down the road I'd want to go here. But, suffices to say, it's all kind of silly. The 10% appreciation for somebody who can invest $1,000 is like, hey, great, you could make $100 on this, and then, the more you're able to invest, the better you can do, I paid for a shed. I had a shed that I built in the back of my house that was about $7,000, and I made it in a few good days. No joke. Just being able to call good trades, and it's easy come, easy go. I mean, today is a great example of easy go. It was pretty intense, but I've been down worse. I really have. A lot worse, in fact. Beginning of COVID, I lost, $25,000, $30,000, somewhere in there. And was able to recover, right? But you can't let short-term losses, stop you from making rational decisions. What's happening right now with these hedge funds is that because people have been buying like crazy to bury these guys, let's go back to the example that I gave about short selling. Okay? So I borrow the shares, say $10,000 worth of shares, and at $100 a pop. So now I've got 100 shares. Now, let's just say I bet against the stock and it increases by 10%. Well, fuck. Now I gotta buy the shares back, right? I gotta buy the shares. I borrowed the shares. Now I'm gonna cover. I don't want it to get worse. I'm gonna cover. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pay my $11,000 now, and that means I had to pay the $10,000 plus $1,000 more dollars of my money, and there you go. Now, the difference, if I go long on a stock, so that's the other direction, right? Now I'm betting for a stock, okay? If I were to buy, $10,000 worth of shares and it loses 50% of its value, and I sell the stock and go, well, I lost my ass on that. Now I lost $5,000. But if you notice, the most I can lose is hypothetically if a stock goes to zero. So it would be all my money, but at least that's the most I can lose is all my money. But if I'm short on a stock, there's really no end in sight for that. There's no end in sight. The more money the stock is worth, if I remain short on it, the more it's gonna cost me. So these guys are in a deep shit. I don't know how much they owe yet, but it's billions. I have to take a look at the numbers. I'm willing to bet that in the media, it's probably not correct, but it's billions. The thing that really gets me about this is that then today, the same people who manipulate the markets every day, who have fucked over countless companies, countless people, tried to appeal to the masses and even had people in the media on their side talking about folks who just wanted to give these guys a black eye one time. They wanted to get over on these guys one time. And I was shocked to see the media once again fuck the little guy it doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't seem to matter what's going on, right? It's just fuck the little guy. Here we are. So, you know, the headlines today were stupid. Fucking stupid. Not only did they not know, they could not explain what happened and why. Not only could they not do that, but what they did explain was ridiculous. It made absolutely no sense. It's just like, yeah, there was an article that tried to link buying GameStop to Trumpism. Like that's even a fucking thing. There are dudes who support him, okay? Some of them are nuts. Absolutely. A lot of them are nuts. I don't know if you remember, but there were a bunch of kids who were singing cult-like tunes, you know, in, what was it, 2008 and 2012, during the Obama elections. You know, just some people turn these politicians, they just stand for politicians. They just love those fucking politicians. Like, why? I don't understand. I don't understand. These people are not your friend. So today was crazy, and it was crazy, and part of the reason I wanted to talk about this is that I think people should probably know a little bit about what's going on. What's happening? Why is this happening? What's, you know, who's doing what, and for what reason? Well, at this point, it's a big joke. It's the number of people who are investing, the volume exceeded, for GameStop, the volume exceeded trading for, you know, like Apple and Amazon and Tesla, you know, big companies, big market caps. You have millions of people who are investing in them right now, and they don't even know why. Most of them couldn't tell you even where they got the idea, apart from going like, I just heard it was like, this is the thing, we're gonna buy GameStop. Like, fuck yeah, they don't know what's going on. They have no idea. I was gonna open up this story here and take a look, see how they explain things. Two hedge fund legends, Stephen Cohen and Dan Sondheim, suffered bruising losses as amateur traders banded together to take on some of the world's most sophisticated investors. By the way, again, this is a very generous way to interpret that event. Sophisticated investors. Okay. I would make the argument that being highly leveraged in a single stock without anyone to oppose you, if anyone else did that, that would be called reckless. That would be reckless. If you could be absolutely turbo fucked over, that would be reckless. You didn't have any stop losses in place. You just went full balls to the wall, 144% leverage on this fucking, like, it just leaves you open, man. But okay. In Cohen's case, he and Ken Griffin ended up rushing to the aid of a third, Gabe Plotkin, whose firm was getting beaten down. Again, we're actually talking right now about people bailing each other out. They're helping each other out, these hedge funds, hoping to keep each other, you know, dominant. They wanted to shut down trading, you realize. And they came up with a reason. They go around to they go to the fucking Reddit, and it's like, yeah, we're going to shut you down. For what? Hate speech? Like, what are you talking about? Then they open it back up, and it's like, okay, I guess we can't shut you down for hate speech because, like, that would be stupid. It's like, we're trading. What are you talking about? It's just, it's gone berserk, kids. It's gone berserk. So, driven by the frenzied trading in GameStop Corp and other stocks that hedge funds have bet against, the losses suffered over the past few days would rank among the worst in some of these money managers' storied careers. This is about what I expected, by the way. Cohen's 0.72 asset management has declined 10 to 15% so far this month, while sometimes D1 Capital Partners, one of last year's top performing funds, is down 20%, and Melvin had lost 30% through Friday. It's a hell of a lot worse than that today. A lot worse. Because that's a parabolic increase. So it's geometrically worse than this. It's a humbling turnaround for the hedge fund titans, who in 2020 staged a comeback by pouncing on wild markets caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Again, I want to explain something. These are people who profited. The billionaires profited by over $1 trillion on the recovery from COVID, okay? Other people cannot work. They have no way to make a living. These people made $1 trillion, and we cannot figure out how to give them $10 for their fucking rent, okay? You're going to tell people, I can't go, you're not allowed to go to your job. You're going to tell people that they just can't make a living. And in the meantime, you can't throw them the money. You're the one who told them not to work. Like, okay, fine, good, I'm on board. So then make it possible for them. No, I just want you to lose everything. And in the meantime, these guys get to make $1 billion. And by the way, or $1 trillion, sorry. $1 trillion. That would be 1,000 billion. That's the, what could you do with that kind of money? And these guys didn't even fucking need it. So, it's bananas, man. It is absolutely bananas. Yeah. Creating a new force that for now the professionals seem powerless to combat. This is fascinating. This right here. What a fucking turn of phrase this is. Are you reading this? It's a humbling turnaround for the hedge fund titans, who in 2020 staged a comeback by pouncing on the wild markets caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Sounds heroic. Now we get to the poor people, known as folks trying to fucking get by. But that crisis helped push thousands, if not millions, of retail traders into the U.S. stock market, creating a new force that for now the professionals seem powerless to combat. Hedge funds. I'm talking about hedge funds. What do you mean? Combating? Like you're being attacked? This is the thing. These are the guys manipulating the stock market constantly. It's not the fact that there are a bunch of new traders and they somehow coalesced into this big bot. It's not fucking Power Rangers. This is an example of what I'm talking about. What is this story? That what happened, and the reason this is happening, is a bunch of people got together on Reddit saying what these guys do is unethical, nigh on immoral, and what we're going to do is give them a fucking black eye. Now, there is actually an argument to be made about why this may end up being a net negative. I could go into it. I could, but I'm not going to because it's already late. But can you hear the phrasing of that? They're talking about fucking people getting their one-time $600 stimulus check. Like, oh, well, the crisis, the COVID-19 crisis, push thousands, if not millions, of retail traders into the stock market. Like, how dare they get involved? Creating a new force that for now the professionals seem powerless to combat. Hey there. How's it going there, stepsister? Stepsister fell on my lap? Jesus Christ, bud. I just found out about all this today. Let me tell you, dude. No, it isn't actually. I think a lot of this is going to be going on for a bit. They're probably going to be shutting things down. As in, they're going to figure out a way to shut down the Reddit group. They've already shut down the Discord. The Reddit ended up coming back, okay? But I think it's most likely going to be the case that they will figure out other avenues to continue, like Twitter. I don't know if you're on Twitter at all, but financial Twitter is pretty robust. And if you put in symbols, for instance, here, I'll type it in chat here. You put a $sign and search just like that, and you will find people who are discussing it. And that's the best way to keep posted, because they're not going to be able to get rid of everybody. But I'm guaranteeing you this, and I've not been met happily by a lot of people I've discussed this with, because again, this is something I've been doing for a long time. You're not going to be able to get away with, unfortunately, sticking legacy money in the eye. It's just sad reality. Old money, they're going to end up pulling the strings, and the SEC is going to put a big jackboot up our ass. Guaranteed. But this has been absolutely bananas. This has been bananas. The way it's been framed, everything has just been, it's been astonishing to me to see tech, media, hedge funds get together and with all their powers combined make one big fucking asshole. Like, it's been unbelievable. You're looking at these guys and you're like, what the fuck? When, at what point in time did all these people decide, like, fuck the little guy? Oh, what you got there? I bought Nokia when the market was open, but I never bought anything when it's after hours. Am I supposed to place a limit order for AMC? If you want to purchase an after hours, yes, you have to do it with a limit order. But I am going to tell you, after hours is over now. So that's 8 o'clock Eastern is when that ends. You can buy on pre-market, okay? And pre-market opens up I believe it's 3 a.m. Eastern. I don't trade much on pre-market because I'm not up that early. I'm on the West Coast. So it's 3 a.m. Pacific, 6 a.m. Eastern. So if you're on the East Coast, it works out well for you. Because the market opens 9 a.m. Eastern time. So here's the deal. If you decide not to do, if you're on like an application, I don't know if you're on, Robinhood, or if you're on, IBKR or any one of these things, they have like a separate interface for after hours. Robinhood. Okay. Yeah, I think they have a separate interface there on there for after hours and pre-market, and you set a limit order. Now, here's something I will warn you about, and this may be a problem. If you set a limit order and the price never goes low enough for your limit to trigger, it will not trigger at all. In which case you'll be like, whoa, I thought I said an order. Why am I not bought in? Okay, so that's the deal. If you decide what you can do, and actually this is something I'm doing. Again, I've been trading a long time, and I don't really like my portfolio to heavily lean into the meme stocks. Thanks a lot for the follow, dude. The way I do it is I'm going to take like $1,000 and I'm going to set it to go in at the open. And whatever the price is, because my goal here, yeah, I'd like to make money. I'd like to, of course. Don't we all want to make money. But my goal is to do what the people on the Reddit group originally wanted to do, which is fuck some hedge fund dudes right in their fucking face. It's all the people who have stuck it to all of us who've been trading for ages and have to be reactionary to the games they play constantly. You know, if you get to stack the deck in your favor, you don't lose. That's not really, if we're really getting down to it, that's not free market capitalism. The fact that you get to rig the game, that's not what this is. And I've been telling this, to people for ages. The fact that they don't regulate. Do you know that GameStop, and I'm just repeating this, GameStop was shorted to 144% of their float volume. That means they had 144% of just how many stocks they actually issued. 144% were sold. Short sold. So I was able to, it would be like, I gave the analogy earlier. If I'm trying to sell you an orange, it's like I sold you the orange and then said, I'm going to tell you 50% more orange. And you'll be like, so where's the other 50% of an orange? And I just go, no, I'm just going to sell you an extra 50% of one. It's bullshit. So they were able to short the ever-loving crap out of GameStop, and they were trying to kill the company. And they were deeply leveraged with options, as well as short on stock. And frankly, it's a completely reckless way to trade. They clearly didn't have any stop limits in there. So when people started buying AMC, they got fucked. So now they owe a crap ton of money. It's billions. And I was just looking at this story here, and they're saying, well, they lost 30% through Friday, and it's a hell of a lot more now. I know that for sure. Because if you look at this chart, God, what an insane chart this is. This is bananas. They were down 30% down here at $65. It's since gone to $350. So, they're in trouble. They're in debt. This is absolutely outrageous. But yeah, you're going to have a little bit of time here. AMC, Nokia, you're probably going to be able to hop into these guys, but I highly recommend that, again, the SEC is going to work quickly on this. Why? Because you're sticking it to old money. If it were any of one of us who's getting fucked over, for instance, that you're able to short companies into oblivion, which they've done on multiple occasions, and manipulate, by the way, let's take a look at Apple. Apple just had its earnings. Apple kicked ass on its earnings. Let's pull that up real quick. Seeing as how I'm already here. Unbelievable. So Apple kicked ass on its earnings, and in after hours ended up falling, which, is this going to show me? Let me see. I'm not sure if they'll show me here. Yeah, see that? Here. Oh, nope. I'm trying to find, God damn you. There we go. Okay. Let's see if we can pull this up. Of course you're not. Of course you're not. Here, give me just a second. We're going to pull this up here. Yes, I have Stadia, by the way. I have Stadia, and I think it's cool. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so they kicked ass in their earnings, and take a look. They still fell 3%. This is actually a really normal occurrence. This is a really normal occurrence. It's something that what happens is, despite the fact that you go, wow, so you're telling me AMD stock, they lost 6%. They just reported their earnings. What do you think happened there? That's weird. It must have been terrible. Take a look at that. They reported earnings, and then look at this. They fell off. It must have been awful. Nope. It was great. It was actually kick-ass. It was maybe their best one in years. Fell off. Why is that? Why would it be sold? Well, the answer to that is you and I, we hold the stock and go, I hope it goes. And then other people with a shit ton of money, they get to manipulate the options and the stock. So then what happens is they get to choose which contracts win, which options win. And when they short the stock, they can buy it at a premium. This is what happens with them, by the way. When they drop off after an earnings report, so good example, here was one earnings report, okay, that occurred in 2020. That happened here, October 26th, they reported. Then they fell off like a rock. All the guys with the money, they get to purchase at a premium after the price upgrades. Now it flies, okay? And then the next thing you know, you take profits, and pow, you get to do it again. That's how this works. So, that's the game. That's the game that's being played. So let's take a look at this. I'm going to keep going on this because this is outrageous, dude. This is outrageous. Their assailants are a collection of traders. I love this. Assailants. They're assailants now. Using Reddit's Wall Street bets to coordinate their attacks, which seem to be focused on stocks known for being held short by hedge funds. The most prominent is GameStop, the beleaguered brick-and-mortar retailer that soared more than 1,700% this month, but other targets include AMC, Entertainment Holdings Inc., and Bed Bath & Beyond Inc. The pain is likely spreading across the hedge fund industry, with rumors swirling among traders of heavy losses at multiple firms. Goldman Sachs, VIP ETF, which tracks hedge funds' most popular stocks, tumbled 4.3% on Wednesday for its worst day since September. Fund managers covered their money-losing short sales while trimming bullish bets for a fourth straight session on Tuesday. And over that stretch, their total outflows from the market reached the highest level since October 2014, data compiled by Goldman's Prime Brokerage Unit show. D1, which was founded in 2018, had about $20 billion in assets at the start of the year, is buffeted to some degree from the attacks. Again, attacks. The attacks. I mean, do you guys... What motivation? What motivation does this person have? Who is this? Catherine Burton, Hema Parmer, and Melissa Karsh. Who are these people? Who are these people? I am so curious. Who the fuck, like, why would you be writing like this? I'm supposing, reporter with business covering private equity and investing. Opinions are my own. I mean, it's just crazy. Look back at 2020. Why the fuck? Of course. It's always people who are engaging in fucking race baiting because it takes your eye off the ball. We all get, these people run roughshod over all of us, okay? And in the meantime, they go, hey, everybody, have you noticed this guy looks different than you? That's weird, right? It's unbelievable. What motivation do you have? It is sketchy as hell to sit here and call this an attack. I want to reiterate, they're buying stock, a pretty fucking normal. I'm gonna bring something else up here so that I want to drive this point home. This is crazy to me. This is absolutely crazy to me. Let's pull up something. I don't know. Let's go with a small just a random. Give me something. Let's go with these guys. If you notice these charts, okay, I'm just gonna go. Let's see if I can bring this up and then take us back. We're going back in time. Take a look at this. You had a run. I was actually in this one. From bottom to top, it was spectacular. Oh, that's sad. That's a Larry King reference, by the way. Shit. Rest in peace, dude. Could have gone my whole life without hearing him say coitus, though. I totally heard him say it. I don't even remember where. It's just burned into my brain. Coitus. And you're just like, Jesus, it's Larry King. Fuck, dude. Just that's enough. But take a look at this. Okay. They went from 41 cents up to $1.29. That's huge. That's huge. So, look at that. Look at that. My God, it's beautiful, right? Let me ask you, was that an attack? Was this an attack? I can't tell. I can't see real good. Is that an attack there? No. It's just people buying stocks. It's just people buying shares in a company. Now, why did I pick this one out? How did I pick this out? You're going to be like, how in the world did this guy just sitting here pop out with a symbol that happened to have this exact thing go on? Well, because this happens all the time with, could be penny stocks, bio stocks, tends to be those that are worth less money. They have these kinds of runs all the time. People come in, an overwhelming volume of people. There are a lot of reasons for that, by the way. Not all of them completely legit. And, this is what happens. People buy a shit ton of shares and then they sell them and take profit. Okay, that's how the game is played. Large institutions are able to do this regularly. They do this all the time, and they're able to do this with much larger stocks. The reason it happens in pennies so often is because retail plays in this range, They're playing with, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars, but they're not playing with millions to hundreds of millions of dollars, so they're not moving the needle all that much for the most part. It blows my mind. Like, this is the framing you're getting right now. If you're learning about this from reading the news, if you go here to Yahoo Finance, or if you're reading, little articles that pop up on CNN or whatever, Huffington Post, whatever the fuck you're reading, you have a framing of this like they're a group of these fucking animals just like attacking these innocent hedge fund guys. It's like, what the fuck? Have you guys lost your goddamn minds? Do you know who these people are? You're attacking the people who are trying to scrape by. And you're sympathizing with the guys who beat the fuck out of and exploit the system on a daily basis. That's outrageous. This is how it's framed. My goodness. Like, they just targeted the hedge fund itself. Like, no, you wouldn't have lost. Do you realize it's not an attack? You wouldn't have lost, an insane 40%, 50, 60% of your value at this point if you weren't invested like a jackass. Could be that. So, now here we are. Melvin on Monday took an unheard of cash infusion from its peers. What is this? They're really apologetic to these guys. Well, they took an cash infusion from its peers. It's like, we work together. We lock arms and we have to work together. I have to support you because we together are the ones who get to call all the shots. Cash infusion? Bro, they're protecting their own interests, motherfucker. Receiving $2 billion from Griffin, his partners, and the hedge funds he runs at Citadel, and $750 million from his former boss Cohen. Got to bail out those rich guys with other super rich guys. That's what you got to do. Everybody else is struggling to get by. Got to bail out those rich guys, though. Got to make sure. What would happen if you didn't? What would happen? Pandemonium. And like I said, there is absolutely a case to be made here. There's absolutely a case to be made about what could transpire because of this. Anyway, goddamn. The social media posts about Melvin Capital going bankrupt are categorically false. Melvin Capital is focused on generating high quality risk, blah, 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 blah. Corporate bullshit. Until this year, Plotkin 42 had one of the best track records among hedge fund stock pickers. You don't say. He'd worked for Cohen for 8 years, had been one of the biggest money makers before leaving to form Melvin. He's posted an annualized return of 30% since opening, ending last year up more than 50% according to an investor. Another fund, the $3.5 billion Maple Lane Capital. I don't know these guys. Lost about 33% this month through Tuesday, in part because of a short position on GameStop, according to investors. Okay, this is all I'm going to point out, okay? Don't you think it's fascinating that these guys, all helping each other out, also coincidentally are all invested in these same positions, holding massive short positions in the same stocks? And that strike you a little bit weird? Just these few people who have billions of dollars are invested in all the same things to a pretty large degree. Like, well, this seems to be a good way to make some money here. Nobody can outspend us. So a bunch of people on Reddit get together to try and, do what they do. This is what they do. You have to understand, at one time, you know what the attack was? These guys shorting this stock. That was the attack. They've been trying to kill GameStop. Now, whether or not you think GameStop should be killed, hey, look, I'm not here to make that point. My point is, it's bullshit that they're framing these guys as like, these are the innocent guys. They're just trying to play by the rule. This guy's just a nice fella. These are big bad Redditors armed with their $600 checks. They're fucking, sitting on their Robinhood app. I mean, fuck, these guys don't know. I mean, most of the people who are invested in this, they're not coordinating some grand attack. They just want to make money, right? They just want a piece of whatever it is these guys get to do. That's how it looks to most people on the outside. They go, look, I don't know how any of this works. I've met a million people like this. Man, I don't know how any of this works. If you tell me what to buy, I'll go do it. And then, you tell me when to sell it and I'll sell it. Like, I trust you. And I've done that for many people over the years. And it's a fucking travesty that these guys, they get to manipulate the system. They make absurd amounts of money. And, the second other people fairly playing the game, doing it the way they do it, it's a bridge too far, man. Can't do it. Can't allow it. Unbelievable. Normally, again, this is not normally what my stream is by a long shot, but I had to talk about this. I had to talk about it because this is just this right here. What we're seeing right here really is history. I'm not kidding you when I say when COVID hit, true, that's going to be in the history books. But let's face it, it wasn't as bad as the influenza, pandemic in 1918. And most of it was us punching ourselves in our face for a year. That's really, it's just exposed how fucking stupid all of us are. This, on the other hand, is a big, this actually shows you that there's a big cultural rift here, because I read this story and it just blows me away. Like how this is framed, how people are discussing it. It's crazy. So, anyway, Cohen 64 is perhaps the best known victim. Oh, cry me a river, dipshit. Of this year's turmoil so far. The new owner of the New York Mets. Do you know how many times I've got the new owner of the New York Mets, whose fund gained 16%. The best known victim. The owner of the New York Mets. Lord, strike me down with such an affliction. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If only we should all be afflicted with such horrible, Oh, then what happened? Are you a multi-billionaire? Then what happened? Well, then I lost 20% of it. Oh, where did you now? Oh, boy. Wow. I can't even do it. I can't even do it. He's become a national figure after beating competition from Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez to buy the ball. Look, they're even dropping names of celebrities and shit to be like, see, look at that. He knows these people. Don't you like those people? Late Tuesday, Cohen broke his usual habit of only tweeting about the Mets. Hey, stock jockeys, keep bringing it, he wrote on the social media platform. I hate these guys so much. I really do. I really do. They just drive me absolutely insane. You know why? Because this guy doesn't get it. He thinks this is about him. It's not about the individuals involved. It's about the stupid games you play. And it's about being able to finally, hey, we're gonna tell people what they can do now to profit. Because that's what you do. So that these guys can profit. You know, and now you understand what it is to be on the other end of that and lose money and go, well, that isn't fair. That seems like manipulative horse shit. Well, you don't say. You don't say. Is it manipulative horse shit? Huh. Interesting. I don't know, guys. Anyway. This has been something different. I don't know. I mean, you know, people have to let me know if this is something that folks would like to talk a little bit more about. I don't know. If you have questions about trading, how it works, or like what to do to get involved, I will tell you. I would like to see more people involved. Frankly, I think that would help us get back on the right track. It's easier for me to make money with the manipulative guys in charge because I kind of understand their game. Because it's how I learned. You know, I learned that this is what these guys do, you know, but I don't think that's best for us in the long term. So, you know, I think more people should get involved. I think more people should be talking about it and you know, participating. The fact of the matter is, all these guys are fucking ancient. That's the other thing about this. You gotta remember, they've been doing this for a million years, and they never go away. These guys just never seem to disappear, ever. And, you know, you've got to go in there and change. You've got to make an impact. You've got to make an impact. I mean, business as usual is not working. They don't care about other people. They don't care about them. You know, and the fact that I'm taking a look here at this story, this story that I just read here, and it frames these guys like they're fucking heroes, like they're folk heroes. Like, take a look at this. This poor multi-billionaire, he lost 30% of his wealth. Never mind that they didn't, you know, they left out the part where it's like, from doing this horribly unethical thing, and then it blew up in his face. But yeah, he lost 30%, sure. And he was trading like an idiot. And he had the game rigged, so he figured he would once again win. And when a bunch of people coordinated, it fucked up his plan, and now he's mad about it. Cry me a river. Cry me a river. I don't know what to tell you. It's bullshit. The whole thing. All of it. It's all bullshit. I'll probably hop back into some regular stuff another time, another day. But I just wanted to hop on and do that a little bit and just see what kind of interest there is in this. But you know, I don't know. It blows me away. This stuff just Kids, it's frustrating. But I'm gonna hop out of here. So, you know what? Take care, you guys. You know, I'll be back, and like I said, if anybody, you know, if you have interests in any of this stuff, drop me a message, you know, hop on over to YouTube. Hop over to YouTube, mostly. Jesus. Yeah, so, I will catch you guys another time. This stream, I have to say, has been good enough for me. Huh?
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.